Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be all about how to achieve a natural eyeshadow look. So this is a look that I did in the video, so this is what you guys will be seeing. And so this look could be worn with a lot of things. You could wear it to something really casual, or to school, or to work or something, or you could wear it to a bigger event too if you're just trying to do a little softer makeup. So basically it's a really versatile makeup or eyeshadow look you could do with a lot of things. And so a lot of you guys were asking me to do an eyeshadow tutorial as well, so here it is. And so in the demo, I'm going to be explaining to you guys step by step what I do and why I do it, so you guys have a good grasp on what's going on. And it's pretty easy, and I'm going to show you guys everything I use and how to do it. So I hope it's helpful, and I hope you guys learn something. And so I usually start with my eyeshadow, so I do my eyeshadow first and then I do the rest of my face. So let's just jump right into it and get started with the eyeshadow. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing I usually do is prep my eyelids, and I usually use this MAC paint pot, and it's in the shade Soft Ochre, and it looks like this. And so this shade is typically like the best shade for basically anyone, but if you do have a really fair skin tone, you might want to use the Painterly shade in the paint pot. And what you can also do instead of using the paint pot, because this is a little expensive, what you could do is use your concealer as a primer for your eyelids. That will also work really well too. I usually just don't do that because I do my makeup after my eyeshadow, so I just put my concealer on later. So I just use this and I have it, so why not, you know. And so using a primer is a great idea because first of all, it makes your eyeshadow last longer, whether it's this one or the concealer or any other primer that you have. And also, if you have any like veins in your eyelids, or if you have any discoloration or anything like that, the primer will smooth out all of that, all of the imperfections or anything that's going on there, and it'll just make it all one solid color. And then another good thing, my favorite part about the primer, is that it allows the color that you use for your eyeshadows to show up really, really true to the color that it's supposed to be. So rather than me putting on eyeshadow just on my bare eyelids, the color might not come out exactly the way it's supposed to look. But when you put the primer, the color usually comes on exactly the way it's supposed to look. So that's why I really like using a primer. You don't have to. There are a lot of people who don't use primers, and I've heard that it works out really well for them, but I would just prefer to use that. Okay, anyway, so moving on, this is what it looks like from the inside. It's just like that. And then the brush that I use to apply this is the Morphe E27. So it looks like that from the top, and then it looks like this. And so I just use this brush. You could really honestly use any brush that you wanted. Just make sure that it'll blend it all nicely and it won't leave it looking chalky on there, because that'll make your eyeshadow look worse. But I just saw Patrick Starr talking about this brush, so I was like, let me try it out. So then I got it, and it works really well, but you could use any brush that you really wanted. Oh, and so I'll put all the products that I mentioned in this video down below in the description box, and then I'll put their names, what they are, and then how much they are, so you guys can, you know, see that whole thing. And yeah, so let's just get started. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a little bit over here. You don't need too much at all. A little goes a long way with this. So yeah, I just like to coat it on my eye like this. Okay, so now that my eye is nice and primed, so you can see like the difference between this eye compared to this eye. This is like all one color now, so it's looking good. And so, okay, so for this video, I'm gonna be using the Morphe 35O palette for the whole video, and it looks like this. I'm sure you guys have seen it, you know, before. It's a really popular palette. A lot of people really like it, and it's their go-to. I really love it too for this natural look that I always do. I always use this one or I use the Morphe 35R palette, which is their newer one. That one's really good as well. It has a lot more browns in it, but I really like this one too. Okay, so step 2 in doing your eyeshadow is that you want to set the primer that you just laid down. And so we're going to take this shade right here, this white shade. And so what you want to do is you want to set your primer because it'll make the eyeshadow, the colored eyeshadow that you put on, a lot easier to blend in. And blending is going to be really important. So you want everything to blend in really smoothly. So that's why you're supposed to put like a light shade or something that matches the color of your primer or your skin onto it. Nothing that'll show up too much, but something that'll just allow the other shades to blend in really nicely. So I usually always use this corner shade right here, and it works really well. So I just tap off some of the excess. There is a lot of excess, but that's okay. But yeah, so you just dab it on like this. You just want to coat it all on there. Cool, now it's all set. And so the brush that I just used to set the lid, it's the Morphe 505, and it looks like this. And so this could be like a blending brush too, because it's really fluffy. I just use this to set my lid because this is just my go-to. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is set down our transition color. And so this color is gonna be a lighter brown color, like a really light brown color. And so this is gonna serve as the transition shade, like I just said. And this is really important to put this shade down. It might seem like it doesn't show up or it's not a big deal, but it is, because it'll help everything like blend nice and smoothly. And like you see in like, you know, probably pictures and stuff of like people, like how their eyeshadow just looks like it's like, you know, from one shade to another so seamlessly. So this transition shade really helps with all that. And so the color that I use for this is this one right here, the one that's hit pan already. I use this a lot. This is like my favorite transition shade, obviously. And so as you can see, it's a really light brown mocha shade. And so it almost looks like the shade of my skin, but this is gonna help really like to have that transition so the other deeper colors will look nice and smooth on the eyelid. And so the brush that I use for the transition shade, it's the Morphe 441, and this is my favorite blending brush. I use this to put the transition on, and then I'll use another brush to put the deeper color in the outer V, and then I'll go back in with this to blend it all out in the end. And so basically I just use this for any and all blending because it works really well, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. Okay, so let's just get started. So I'm just gonna swirl my brush into here, and then you're just gonna wanna tap off the excess. And so you wanna do this so that everything you just saw that flew off, so all that doesn't fly off onto your face or anything. So you just wanna tap it off almost every time. So yeah, so let's just get started. So I'm just gonna go in windshield wiper motions, nice and slow. And so I usually hold my brush at the end of the brush. And so this way my hand will be really light and I won't like press into my eye. And so you wanna be really light and gentle with this so it looks nice and seamless. So yeah, just nice smooth motions inside your eye. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick up some more because I want it to be a little bit deeper. And so I'm actually gonna do both sides together. So I'm gonna prime my eyelids like I did the last one and then put the transition on. And then set this one with the same white shade. And then I'm going to do the same thing, put the same transition color, so this light mocha color, and then just do the same thing, windshield wiper motions with a light hand, tap off the excess. Okay, so the next step is we're going to take the same brush, so the Morphe M441, the blending brush. And so what I like to do is that I like to take now a deeper color, and I like to put it just under the transition shade that we just put and then blend that in as well. So for this, I'm going to use this shade right here, the shade that was right under the transition shade I just used. And so I'm just going to take a little less of this, and so dip it in and then tap it off. And so just place it a little bit under. So to just give it like a little more definition. And you see how now it's just like a little bit more defined. It's slight, but this is a natural eyeshadow look, but it does make a difference, because just look at this eye compared to this eye. This one just has a transition laid down, but this one has like that more deeper color laid down onto it. So it's starting to look a lot nicer now. And so we're just gonna do the same thing with the other eye. Just take a little bit of that, tap it off, and then place it just under. Alright, so the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of deepen the outer V, and then so the outer V is just this right here. So this and that. So with this part, you're gonna wanna put a darker shade here so that it looks nice and defined. And so I'm gonna take the Morphe 433 for this step, and then I'm gonna use this shade right here, this one. So it's kind of like a dark brown chocolate shade. And so this will fit really nicely with the outer V. So you can only want to take a little bit of this because you don't want to get carried away, because if you do, it'll be harder to blend it out, and you don't want that, but you can always add more. So just take a little bit and then tap it off, and then just place it right there, and then right there. Just go nice and slow so you know what you're doing. And I'm going to take a little bit more. And then right now, all you're trying to do is really just place it and kind of blend it. But we're going to blend it with that other brush that I was using before after I place it all down. Okay, so you see how it's like deeper now on this side compared to this side that doesn't have any? Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit more just because I like it to be a little darker. Okay, perfect. So that's how I usually like it. So now I'm going to go back with the M441, the blending brush that I was using before. And I'm not going to put any product on it. I'm just going to use it like it was. And I'm just going to blend that out. So I'm just going to do the same windshield wiper motions and do it like that. And then I'm also going to do it at the outer V. So I'm going to try to blend out that outer V as well. Okay, so you can see now it looks a lot nicer and a lot more blended. So this is kind of like the look we're going for. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side now. So I'm going to go back in with the M433 and then grab that dark chocolate shade. And then do the outer V on this eye. Okay, I'm going to grab a little bit more. Okay, so that's nice and laid down now. And so I'm gonna go back in with the blending brush and then do the same thing, just blend out the whole thing and then blend out the V too. All right, cool. Looks perfect. I'm just gonna blend that out a little bit more actually. All right, cool. So now we got the transition, we got the deeper color, and we got the outer V. And so it's all looking nice and naturally smoky, like I like to call it. And so now we're gonna go in with the lid color, which is my favorite part because this makes the whole look just look so much prettier. And so for the lid color, I'm gonna use this golden metallic shade right there. And you can use like any metallic shade you want. I've also, I sometimes use this one if I'm going for a more red look. Or in the 35R palette, they have this really nice rose gold metallic shade, which I've been using a lot lately too. But for now, we'll just do the gold, which is one of my favorites. And so for this, you're gonna wanna use a flat brush like this one. So it looks like this, and it's just flat. And this is the Morphe G20, so it's part of their gunmetal collection. And so what I do is I'll just take a whole bunch of the metallic shade. I take a bunch because I don't like to like reapply it like every 2 seconds. I'll just tap off a little bit, and then what I do is I'll take MAC Fix Plus, and it looks like this. And so this is a travel size, but they do have a bigger one. So I use this almost every time I use the metallic shade. And so I'll pack on the shade onto the brush. And then what I do is I'll just spray the brush twice with the MAC Fix Plus. So just like this, like that. And so now it's wet. And so what the Fix Plus does, it makes a metallic shade go on so much more metallic than if you didn't use it. So it's just gonna be a lot more bright and vibrant, and it looks a lot nicer. You can just do the metallic shade by itself. You don't need the Fix Plus, but I just like doing this. I do it all the time, so I just wanted to show you guys. And so now we're just gonna apply this onto the lid. So see how metallic and shiny that is now? Okay, so that's laid down on one eye. So I'm just gonna do the same thing to the other eye. Just take a whole bunch of this shade, tap it off like that. Spray it with the Fix Plus, and then just apply this. Okay, so that's done too now. And so now what you're probably wondering is that the outer V, especially that we laid down before I put the lid color on, is kind of all gone now. So it's probably like, you're probably thinking like, what was the point of that? But the point was just to lay it down so you have that, you have that map of where it's supposed to be. And it does shine through. But now what we're going to do is I'm going to go back in with that chocolate shade that I used for the outer V. And I'm going to redefine the outer V with the metallic shade on top. And so this is gonna put it back on because it's kind of, disappeared now. And it's also gonna soften up the outside of the metallic shade because this is a more like natural look. So you don't want like, bam, shimmer on your eye. So this is just gonna help both of those things. So taking that chocolate shade and putting it right back on where the V was on top of the metallic shade. And I'm using the outer V brush, the M433. So can you see how that kind of like softened up the metallic and then added that V color back in there? So I'm just going to take a little bit more. Okay, cool. And so now what I'm going to do is go in with the blending brush, the M441, and then just blend the windshield wiper motions again. And this is just going to make everything look nice and smooth. And you can do it into the outer V again if you want, just to smoothen that out too. Cool. So now it looks nice and naturally, not like super natural obviously, but you know, natural enough. And it looks more softer and like you can see the transition going in. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Take that dark chocolate shade and put it onto the outer V. Okay, cool. And then take the blending brush with no product on it, just from whatever's left over from what we did before, and then just blend that all out. Alright, so for the eyeshadow now, the eyes are done. Okay, so now we're basically done with the eye, with the eyeshadow part. So, you know, it looks nice and blended in. Everything's looking good. The V is more defined, and we got the metallic shade, and we got the transition. So everything looks cool. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go put my eyeliner on and put lashes on and then do my makeup. And so this is what I usually do on a normal basis. I'll do my eyeshadow first, and then I'll do my eyeliner, lashes, and then I'll do the rest of my face. And then I'll go back in and highlight my brow bone, and then I'll put the inner corner highlight, and then I'll do the my waterline and put some eyeshadow under my eyeliner once I have everything else on. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna go do everything I just said, and then I'll be right back to... Alright guys, I'm back with the rest of my makeup on, and so now we're gonna get into doing the lower lash line and then highlighting the inner corner and then the brow bone. So for the lower lash line, I just like to keep it pretty simple. I don't like to have a really heavy lower lash line. I just think it doesn't look good on me. And so I just like to have a little bit there. I used to always wear black eyeliner on my waterline, but I've stopped doing that for a while now because I thought it just looked a little too intense for an everyday kind of a thing. And so now I just do a little bit of shadow underneath, and it creates the effect of an eyeliner, but just not as deep and dramatic as a black eyeliner. So what I do is I'm gonna take this shade right here, the shade that we use to deepen up the crease, and so I'm gonna put that right underneath my waterline. And I'm using this Bare Minerals brush. It looks like this. I don't think you could get it anymore because it was like in a little travel size kind of a thing, gift type thing. So my point is that this brush, you could really use any brush, but it just has to be a little fluffy. It's nothing too serious or anything. And so I just dip like a little bit onto the tip of the brush, and then we're just gonna put it right below. And like I said, I don't like too much, so I just put a little bit. So I'm gonna dip it in a little bit more. Cool. And so I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so now basically we just kind of like place that color there. And then to define it, to create the actual eyeliner kind of effect, where I'm going to use this brush. And now this brush is kind of important because you do need a brush like that is shaped like this. So here's the shape. And so it's just like a flat top. And this is the Morphe M432. And so you need a brush like this because you're gonna get in, like, we're gonna get real close to the waterline like this and like place the color there. So for this one, I like to use this color right here. And so it's kind of like a deeper chocolate than this color, so it's a little more brown. And so I'm just gonna dip it in like this. And then we're just gonna get real close to the waterline and kind of place it. And so, I mean, you can see like why this brush is so important, because it gets you right close to it, to the waterline. Cool. So we're gonna do the same thing to the other side now. Cool. And so you see now we have that kind of dark shadow effect, so it looks kind of like an eyeliner, but it's not like that dramatic. It's just kind of like a little bit more natural, if you will. And so then what I do is I take the same fluffy brush that I was using before, and I just go like this and blend them together. So I don't put any more product, but I just blend these two together, so then it doesn't look like, you know, it doesn't look like light brown and then dark brown right on top of it. It looks a little more blended. Cool. And then that's that. That's the lower lash line. Okay, so now we're almost done. So next what we're gonna do is we're gonna highlight the brow bone. And so the brow bone is just like this area like right here, really close to your eyebrow. And so what this does is this kind of lifts up your eyebrow, so it makes your eyebrow look a little more arched and defined. And it makes the rest of the eyeshadow kind of like, you know, it nicely blends, so your whole eyelid just looks perfect. And so for this, you could use a matte shade, so a lighter matte shade. And if you wanted to do that, you would use kind of more of like a white pearly matte shade, or you can use a shimmer shade. And so in the palette, you could use a shade like maybe like this one right here. This would be a nice like brow bone highlight, or like this one. And then so like I was saying, the matte shades, you could kind of this is more of a satin shade, so you could also do it with this, or like something like this too. So really you could highlight with a bunch of colors, but me, I like to highlight, oh god, I have lipstick all over my teeth. Anyways, so me, I like to highlight with I like to highlight my brow bone and my inner corner with whatever highlighter I'm going to be using for my face, like for my cheeks. And so today I used, and often I use, the Champagne Pop from Becca. So it looks like this. So this is a Becca and Jaclyn Hill collab, and it looks like this. So this is one of my favorite highlighters. I use this a lot. And so, okay, so what we're gonna do before we do the brow bone, I'm gonna comb out my eyebrows. And so I don't fill in my eyebrows because I have really full eyebrows. I might start filling them in like maybe someday, but as of now I'm happy with how my eyebrows look. So what I do is I just comb them out, and I use this little comb I got from the Macy's makeup counters. You could just get them for free if you just ask them. And so I just use this and just comb out my brow. I just comb upward like that, and then I just go like, oh wait, there's hair stuck in it. And then I go like this and kind of shape it, and then I comb this down, and just like that. So it just looks a little bit more cleaner than this one is kind of like, you know, crazy. So I'm just gonna do the same thing to this side. Cool. And now they look nice and groomed, I guess. And so now I'm gonna take the Champagne Pop, and then I use this brush. It's the Morphe E36. It's a little pencil brush, and I love this brush to highlight the brow bone and then the inner corner. It's so small and it just fits in so nicely. So I really recommend this brush. It's really good. So just gonna take a little bit and then just right here. So it's like pretty subtle, but trust me, it makes a difference. So yeah, I do that, and then I just kind of like to blend it into the where the eyeshadow is, just so it doesn't look like you know, too harsh. And so just again with the other eye. And then blend it down a little bit. Cool. And then there we go. And then so now we're going to use the same things and then highlight the inner corner. So the inner corner is like right there. And I love highlighting the inner corner. I think it looks so good. I highlight a lot of the inner corner. So you could do whatever makes you feel comfortable. Like if you just want a little bit, or if you don't want it at all, that's cool too. I just think it looks so good. I think it just like makes your eyes pop. They make your eyes pop and just look so much more like glamorous, I feel like. So I really like to do this. So I just like take a little bit at first and then just pop it in there. See like how much that just made it look so much better? I feel like it just ties in the whole thing. Yeah, see? Like, I don't know, to me that just looks so good. We'll do the same thing. Like, look at that. It just looks so good. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more. There we go. Okay guys, so this is a final look. I'll zoom in a little bit and so you guys can see. So here's this eye. And then here's this one. And so I hope you guys can see, like, you know, like what I was talking about, like the transitions and, you know, the outer V being a little bit deeper. So yeah, this is a final look, and so this is what I do like almost every time I'm just doing something like casual or anything. I don't wear makeup every day, so I can't say that I wear this every day because I don't wear makeup every day, but I wear this look like mostly when I'm like going somewhere, like, you know, like a graduation, because there was so many graduations recently, or like if I'm just like doing something super casual, if I'm like going out or doing something important or have like cool colors on, so I want to incorporate like a, you know, like a blue or a purple or something, then I'll do that. But more often than not, I do this color scheme. So this is the colors that I usually always wear. So I hope this, you know, tutorial was helpful for you guys, and I hope, you know, everything I said makes sense and that you guys followed along well. And yeah, like as you saw, this isn't hard. This look is definitely not hard. It's pretty simple. It may seem intimidating at first because if you're new to makeup, you might be like, oh, what is a transition shade? Like, what does that even mean? Or, oh, what is the outer V? Or what is the inner quarter? Or what is the brow bone highlight? Or, you know, all that stuff. But once you start doing it a couple times, you just get in the routine of it and it just becomes habit. It's just a few steps, like it's transition and then deepen it and then V and, you know, all that. So it's not that hard at all, but just practice. And the most important thing, and I think like a lot of people who do makeup will tell you this, is the most important thing is to blend very well. So make sure there's no harsh lines, because when there's harsh lines, that's when your makeup starts to look a little awkward, because it's just kind of like bam bam bam, and it's like there's no transition. And so just make sure to blend it really nicely. And from all the brushes that I have, the one I would recommend the most would be this one, the Morphe M441, the blending brush, because this is really good to blend and make everything look nice and flawless. And yeah, mostly all these brushes, I think, except for one, were Morphe brushes. And that's just because Morphe is so affordable and their brushes are really good in my opinion. So I usually just end up using Morphe brushes because they're just really nice and really affordable. But you could use like any other kind of brush. You could use Sigma brushes or MAC brushes or, you know, elf brushes, whatever, you know, floats your boat, I guess. But yeah, anything works just as long as you know what you're doing and you follow the steps. So I really hope this video was helpful for you guys, and I hope you learned something new, and I hope, you know, this was a nice natural look that you were asking for. And so if you'd like to see any more looks, any eyeshadow looks, maybe like a pop of color or just anything in general, just let me know in the comments down below and I'd be happy to film that for you guys. But yeah, I hope this was helpful and I hope you guys learned something, and I hope to see you guys next time.